Okay, so I'm approaching the last 3 weeks of my 5 months travel. I'm in the Philippines and I'm beginning to realise that I need to find a job when I get back home. So I thought instead of writing on my CV what I've been doing for the last 5 months and taking up valuable space, it would be probably more helpful if I actually just gave you a 2 minute, hopefully, summary of what I've done over the last 5 months. So, first location was Kenya. In Kenya, I worked with a HIV positive group that were based in an area called Malongo. We pretty much worked in the slums, taking supplies to people who needed it, families who needed it. We basically worked with the therapy groups as well, understanding what their needs were and giving training on particular areas that they had questions on. Followed by this, I went on to Zambia, where I worked at an elderly care home. My job here was pretty much dependent on what I wanted to do. So whilst I was there, I basically got down on my hands and knees and proceeded with cutting their fingernails and toenails, and with the older ladies painting it as well. The intention behind that was just to give them a bit of human touch, companionship, and then just to make them smile. Moving on from this, I went to Ghana, where I was there for about a month. I taught in a school for about 3 weeks, and I guess the key thing that I learned there was how to be creative with really little resources. So that's just learning how to teach them to tell the time without having a clock available, and other sort of teachings that fell into that practice. Moving on from that, I went to Laos. In Laos, I was basically working at a school where we basically just repainted their fence so it sort of looked a bit pretty, and engaged with the children, helping them to practice their English. Then went on to Cambodia. Cambodia, I was working in an orphanage. Again, this was teaching English. I found this to be really a great opportunity to basically just, again, be creative. We were working with kids who didn't have English as a first language, couldn't really understand us half the time, but loved watching YouTube videos, loved drawing, loved colouring, loved playing games. And it's about how do I teach someone who doesn't have English as their first language and make it really engaging. And I think for that 3 weeks of teaching, it went amazingly well. I had kids who learned their ABC, and they weren't missing out 20 characters or 10 characters. After that, I went to Vietnam. I worked in a special needs centre, and I guess the key thing about working there was seeing the disabilities that the kids had and seeing how they coped with it, and understanding that my contribution wasn't teaching them. It wasn't any of the stuff that I was used to a certain degree. It was all about engaging with them and making them feel special. It was about being able to understand their needs, even though they couldn't speak full stop, and then just engaging with them as much as possible. And that was great. Finally, I'm in the Philippines. I'll be here for 2 weeks volunteering and a final 2 weeks travelling. And whilst I'll be volunteering, I'll be working in the Hill Tribe, where I'll be helping to complete the build of a home, as well as working on a cocoa plantation and getting to see the sunrise every morning. And in a nutshell, that is my volunteering experience covered. Thank you.